Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Johanna Chan. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Hong Kong's sole chief executive candidate, John Lee, goes into the community for the first time. The city's daily COVID caseload falls below 500. And Ukraine's president says he will meet with top U.S. officials in Kyiv. Chief executive candidate John Lee visited members of the community for the first time since he launched his campaign. He vowed to alleviate the city's housing problem, but told reporters there was no need to defend press freedom. Isaac Lee reports.
Accompanied by his deputies Kenneth Foch and Kennedy Wong, Lee began his busy morning by visiting two households of a tenements building in Yau Ma Tei. The team stayed for around 40 minutes before heading to the Yau Tsin Mall Multicultural Activity Center. They met representatives of the New Home Association, a charity organization which supports ethnic minorities and new arrivals from the mainland. Lee said he recognizes the importance of diversity for Hong Kong as an international financial hub.
Hong Kong's success relies on harmony, rely on togetherness, and rely on diversity. And each and every time when I come to a place where I can meet people from different backgrounds, different ethnicity, I find it is the most precious time for learning, for getting to know each other, and for making Hong Kong a better place to live.
The former chief secretary also promised to speed up housing supply by simplifying procedures in the planning and construction process if he is elected. Asked whether he would defend press freedom, Lee said there's no need, since press freedom has always been respected in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong Journalists Association, which is considering disbandment, had earlier said it wants to get in touch with the incoming governments. Lee, who will be the sole candidate in next month's election, said communication can only happen if the HKJA submits information requested by the government. In January, the Registry of Trade Unions asked the city's largest journalist group to provide records of its finances and past activities. And last year, Security Chief Chris Tang repeatedly took aim at the group, saying it should clear its name by publicizing information, such as its membership lists. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's COVID tally has dropped again, with 429 cases today. But officials would not say whether they agree with the health experts' suggestion to relax social distancing measures earlier.
The government will closely monitor the latest epidemic situation based on various parameters, including the daily number of confirmed cases and other parameters such as the percentage positive among the testing in the community testing centers, as well as the percentage positive during the restriction testing and declaration operations, also the sewage results. So based on various parameters, the government will make risk assessment and on the latest epidemic situation and adjust the social distancing measures appropriately.
This morning, government advisor Ivan Hong said he believes Hong Kong has already achieved herd immunity. He said it's unlikely that the city will see a rebound within the next 6 months. Meanwhile, 19 of today's cases were imported. There were also 13 additional deaths, including 9 elderly people above the age of 65. Authorities in Beijing are calling the situation urgent and grim as the Chinese capital saw an uptick in new COVID cases. From yesterday afternoon till 4 p.m. today, Beijing reported a total of 21 additional local infections. They were spread across various districts and included a number of teachers and students. The Center for Disease Prevention and Control believes transmissions began in the city as much as a week ago. But Shanghai remained the hardest hit place on the mainland, with over 21,000 new cases and 39 deaths in the past 24 hours. Residents in the financial hub are now in their 5th week of lockdowns. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held back tears when he hosted a rare press conference with local and international media. It came as both countries celebrated the Orthodox Easter holiday in very different settings. Winner Wang reports.
Russian President Vladimir Putin was flanked by Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin as he attended an Orthodox Easter service in his country's capital last night. The service at the Cathedral of Christ the Savior was led by the head of Russia's Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill. The event is a far cry from some Ukrainians celebrating the same holiday. Here in a village near the northern city of Chernihiv, an elderly woman did her Easter baking amid the ruins of her neighborhood. The Easter holiday doesn't bring any joy. I'm crying a lot, she says. Worshippers also gathered for outdoor prayers here in Bucha, a city near the capital. Elsewhere around the country, bombardment continued. More residential buildings in Ukraine's second-largest city, Kyiv, were hit yesterday. Authorities say at least 3 people were killed and 7 more injured. Rescue missions were carried out in Slavyansk, in the east, where Russian attacks damaged several buildings, a school, and a residential area. And in Odessa, where 6 people, including a 6-month-old baby, were killed after a high-rise building was hit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a rare press conference inside a subway station. At times, the event got emotional, such as when the leader said he shared the pain of everyone who lost children in this war. He also revealed he would soon be meeting U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in Kyiv. However, he gave little detail about logistics. Zelensky did say he expected concrete results, not just presents and cakes, but specific things like weapons. Winner Wang, HKIBC.
At least 10 out of 26 passengers of a tour boat have been confirmed dead after it sank off the waters in northern Japan. The search and rescue operation began yesterday afternoon when the Kazu-1 sent a distress signal, saying it was keeling at a 30-degree angle. Contact was lost after that. The boat had been in waters near the Shiratoko Peninsula, a popular tourist attraction in Hokkaido. There were 2 crew members and 24 passengers, including 2 children, on board. The tour had gone ahead yesterday morning, despite high winds and waves that prompted local fishing boats to return to shore. Voting for France's next-term president is well underway as the elections enters its 2nd round. Opinion polls so far suggest incumbent Emmanuel Macron ahead of far-right politician Marine Le Pen. However, the distance this time seems to be much smaller than when the pair faced off in 2017. Forecasts also show a possibly record-high number of people who will either cast a blank vote or not vote at all. Voters are considering a slew of key issues, like the war in Ukraine, inflation, and immigration. The polls are set to close at around 2 a.m. Hong Kong time. Here in the city, the French International School in Chengguan-o was transformed into a polling station for French nationals voting remotely. Around 8,000 people in Hong Kong are eligible to cast a ballot.
Oh, it's fantastic, just in and out in 3 minutes, so it would be definitely a better solution to have more points and distribute it in several places around Hong Kong Island and Kowloon side. But I mean, it's fine.
It was quite a serious 2nd round for France because the 2 contestants were quite of different, expresses quite very different views and have express different paths as to where they want to take France in the future. So it was quite important for me to mark my word, and I hope that citizens in Hong Kong, can also be able to express themselves the same way I'm able to do in French elections.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan says he expects some time before the city's unemployment rate begins to fall. Meanwhile, Welfare Chief Law Ji-kwang says the care home capacity in the coming year will go up. Maisie Mock reports.
Taking to his blog today, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said that Hong Kong's unemployment rate will take some time to drop. That's despite the job market showing signs of improvement. The unemployment rates from January to March this year climbed to 5%, compared with 4.5% in December to February. Chan said that numbers for the February to April interval will continue to reflect the difficult situation caused by the fifth wave. He added that the government saw a fiscal surplus of $29 billion for the 2021-22 financial year. That's more than $10 billion of what was predicted last month. The finance chief said that's partly thanks to a lower than expected number of applications for a deferral in paying profits tax. However, he pointed out the government would still report a deficit after deducting cash raised by bond issuance, repatriations from housing reserves, and cumulative investment returns from the Future Fund. Meanwhile, Secretary for Labor and Welfare Law Ji-kwang announced the capacity of residential care services will increase in the coming year, as a new integrated rehabilitation complex in Tuen Mun is set to open. That includes an over 25% increase in long-stay care home spaces for recovering mentally ill patients. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
An accident at a construction site inside Baptist University has left 3 men injured. The construction workers, aged 55 to 63, were sent to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. At around 3 p.m., the trio had been doing repair work on the rooftop of the Sir Run Run Shaw building. An L-shaped beam reportedly fell from a height and injured the 3. Police are still investigating the cause of the accident. Police believe a 19-month-old baby died from strangulation. Her mother was arrested. Officers were alerted when they got a call at around 9:30 last night, saying a 24-year-old woman and her baby had collapsed inside a flat in North Point. The baby was certified dead soon after they arrived. Neck injuries were found on both mother and child. Police found 2 suicide notes and plastic straps inside the unit. Onto the weather now. We'll have some sunny periods tomorrow, with isolated showers at times. Temperatures will range between 25 and 31 degrees. Similar conditions on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Johanna Chan. Thanks for watching. Good night.